Hello lovelies and welcome to the channel. So I have a new process video for you today, and as promised it is my week 2 2018 project life. So let's jump right in. Now I'm trying to use more of my stash because I have so much and it never ends. And I'm always buying new things because they're just all so pretty, so I really have a decent stash that I have to use. So I've decided to... The thing I find I have a problem with is I have so much stuff that when I'm doing something, I tend to forget that I have certain things that would work, or I tend to just reach for whatever's on my desk. So my new plan, and what I've been trying to do for a while, is if I pick out a few things first before I start, put them on my desk, then I'm much more likely to use them on that spread. So that's what I've done. So I've gone into my stash. Now I have a stash of Flutterby Designs things that I'm keeping all together because they're all pretty and match. And I have a few things. I have Flawsome, I have Extreme Teen, I have a few. And I actually checked the mail because I have the wood veneer for Extreme Teen and a few bits and pieces, but I didn't have the cards, and I really wanted to use the cards for this spread to match. So I went and checked the mail because I bought them last week hoping that they would be here. And I assumed my postie had come and I had no presents. So I went into my stash and I got the Flawsome filler cards, and I used those. Now, they're fantastic. They're amazing. The filler cards, to me, look like all mixed media backgrounds that have been made into Project Life cards or pocket page cards. So I used a mixture of those. And then, would you believe... while I was in the middle of this spread, sure enough, my postie shows up with my recent order from Flutterby Designs. So, yeah, that was a bummer because I really would have liked to have used the boy-themed ones. But anyway, I'll use them for week 3. So, I started on my title card. Now, I really wanted to go with a dark, a big, bold, black title that said week 2. But I have no black alphas left. I have a few, but I don't have enough to make the word week. And that's what sucks. Like, I've said it before, and I'll probably continue to say it. I think American Craft needs to come out with a set of thickers that just say week. Week over and over and over again with a whole bunch of numbers. I would buy many, many packets of those. Because making up the word week... you can only usually, I think, maybe make 3 or 4. No, if there's only 4 E's, you can only make 2. But you can only make the word week so many times out of one set of thickers. And that's the sucky part. So I really wish, if there's anyone out there that has contacts in the scrappy production world, someone make a set of thickers that just say week over and over. That would be a killer. But anyway, that's my rant over. So... I went for some blue ones, but they weren't bold. You couldn't see them because this is a very busy background. So I went for some silver ones. Still not happy with it, but I'm trying to get past the overthinking and just get it on the page and get it done. I find once I get into the swing of things with my project life, it's much more easier to continue doing it. But if I get stuck at the very beginning, it takes me a bit too long to get into it. And that's where I find I fall behind. I said in my last Project Life video that I feel sometimes that my pages are very repetitive and all look the same. And basically, I feel like they just get a bit stale. So I'm trying to find ways to get around that. And by using more different supplies, not more supplies, different supplies, I'm hoping that's going to help. And with this spread, I have to admit, I really like this one. And using some wood veneer on the pages, and also these little tickets that I pull out soon. I use a fair few of them, but I also use them in different ways. So I cut the ends off and things like that. And in the end, I'm really happy with how the spread turned out. So I feel like I'm getting that mojo back and getting away from that, feeling a little stale. But yeah, so I wasn't 100% happy with the silver thickers, but I want to get it on the page and I want to get this spread done and I want to get it in the album. I want the memories documented. So, yeah, not letting it bother me too much. I had these black ones here, which, would have made more sense to write week out of, but I wanted to use them for my mini title that says Time Zone. So this was the school holidays, and we went, we had a lot of activities that we did. Well, not a lot, but we tried to do something at least once a week all together and out of the house and have a bit of holiday fun. And one of those was Time Zone. The boys had a choice between a movie, bowling, or Time Zone. All three of them chose Time Zone. They love it, including my husband. They love Time Zone. So we went and we spent about 2 hours at Time Zone. The boys got some awesome prizes, got enough points to get some prizes. And so that's what the majority of the photos on this spread are from. This was also the week, I think, or was it the next week? No, this would have been the week we got sick as well. So, yeah, a lot of the photos, there's not a lot of photos apart from that. So that's why you'll find in my spreads, if I have multiple photos from one event and I have a place for a journaling card, I tend to journal about that event that has the majority of photos on the layout, if that makes sense. Or if on the next page you'll see I am journaling about Will's missing tooth, because that's something that I wanted to document for that week. But in this case, I just wanted to jot down about our trip to Time Zone. So I had all the letters out to spell Time Zone, and it just wouldn't fit at the top of this card. Now, I made this card at the beginning. I knew I wanted to do some journaling, but I really wanted to keep the blue. So I just got an old Project Life lined card and stuck it down, but I left enough space for a title. But Time Zone just wouldn't fit. So in the end, I didn't want to put all those stickers back on the sticker sheet. So I just stuck it to this picture of our selfie. Now, this selfie was taken when we were leaving Time Zone, so I figured it was quite fitting. And then, because I had that gap for a title, I wanted to put something there. So I spell out fun, and then I use my tiny Kazar alphas to write so much. So my title becomes so much fun. So that was a way to, still have a title and make use of all these little letters that I have going. These Kazar tiny alphabets are one of my favourite things in my stash. I have multiple packets of them, so I'll never not be able to spell a word because I just open a new packet if I need to. But as you can see, you get a lot on there, and they're the right perfect size for Project Life and small titles. So I like to use these a lot. And the way I use them is I put them on some paper first instead of trying, and I know I did the opposite of this on the card I just made, but for bigger words, instead of putting them straight on a photo or straight on a layout and trying to line them up, I use a piece of paper and I use the bottom edge and I line them up that way, and then I trim them down with my scissors, and then I stick them straight to the photo with glue. So it makes it look neater, and it's a lot easier than trying to line them up on a photo or something, because that never works for me. I don't know about you, but without fail, it's going to go on crooked, it's going to go on in the wrong spot, and I'm going to wreck my photo trying to pull it up. So I learnt to stick them onto paper first, trim them with my scissors, so if they are crooked or wonky, you can't tell because I'm trimming all the excess off, and then sticking them with adhesive or glue, in this case obviously, to my photo. And that way I get another way of doing my journaling. And all I'm writing here is Dad versus Will. I know I probably should have, done something much more exciting, because obviously I know it's Dad versus Will, but I just wanted to put something on that photo there. This is one of those tickets I was telling you about. You might see later on, and I know, oh look, we've just jumped to the next side. There they are on the left-hand side there. They're from Flutterby Designs, and they're like little tickets. And they come on a sheet and you just cut them out. And they have, coloured edges and that. But I found that if they didn't match, or if I liked the sentiment but didn't like the ticket aspect or the colour, all I did was I just trimmed them off. I trimmed the ends off, or some of them I turn into fishtail banners. So yeah, it's a good way to use your supplies other than they're intended. Always look at your supplies and, if it doesn't suit what you've got, can you change it to make it suit? Now, I do this with Project Life cards a lot as well, because if you have a core kit, you have something like 600 cards, and there's multiples of each of those. Who's going to use all of those cards? And I know I'm not the only one that has way more than just a few core kits. So if you were to add it up, and we're not going to because we don't want our husbands to know, but if you were to add up how many cards you have, you're never going to use them in a lifetime. If you're like me, you are never going to use your entire stash. Most definitely not all those Project Life cards. So find other ways to use them. I'm using them in my journal as little tip-ins, and, sometimes I use them to back photos as well. But a good way, especially with the Project Life cards, because you get so many multiples, I look at the elements on the card and I cut them out and use them as embellishments. If I see something that I like, I'll cut it out and use it. So always look at your supplies in a new light. And that's what I did with these tickets. I wasn't a fan of the ticket aspect, trying to fit them on my photos, but I love some of the sayings on them, so I cut them out and used them as sayings, and I love the way they turned out. And I ended up using a lot more than I intended to begin with. This is probably my favourite filler card. I was going through because I had 2 spaces here, and I was using the one next to Will with his loose tooth, or with his fallen out tooth, to put the journaling about Will's tooth, but I still had another gap, and I thought, what am I going to put here? I thought, I'll go through the filler cards and I'll find one, just to put in. Now, the photo next to this filler card, it's a terrible photo. I know. It is a absolutely terrible photo of me with my fluffy hair. My husband took this photo. I think I just got out of the shower and I sat down or something, and I took my hair out and he's looked at me and goes, your hair is so fluffy right now. He goes, give me your phone and I'll take a photo. Normally, most people would say no, but I saw this post a while back, and it was directed at husbands and dads and partners, and basically it was, take the photo. She's not going to care, and I'm sure you've probably all seen it, but for having photos of yourself included in your albums, especially if you have kids, if you're keeping these for your kids when they're older, like my kids aren't going to care that I look terrible in that photo. I don't like it, but my kids are going to love it. I know my children, and I know my son, my oldest especially, loves my fluffy hair. He's always saying, Mummy, your hair's so fluffy, and he likes to play with it. So I know, and yes, I know my hair dye is really bad, and there are so many things wrong with it, but my husband thought it was funny, and my children, I know, will love it. So that is why it is in the album. And that is why I thought I would get this card. When I saw it, I thought this would be perfect because it says loved. And I thought, even at my worst, yes, I am loved. They love me for me, crazy hair and all. So that's why I, 1, included this terrible photo of myself, and 2, put this filler card right next to it. I thought it was quite fitting for the spread. If you've watched my Project Life process videos in the past, you know that I love to include the story behind the photo. I love to add my journaling, obviously, but a lot of the time I have too many photos to add journaling cards or multiple journaling cards. So my favourite way to add my journaling is to cut up strips of paper and add it directly to my photo. And you'll see that's what I've done with a lot of them. And then I tend to embellish that little cluster there. So that's what I'm doing with my photos. Just journaling how Cooper got sick, and this is how I found Will in bed one night with a hat on, surrounded by toys. But yeah, it's important to me to include those little tidbits of information just to give the story behind the photo, because that's what I really want to remember. And that's going to be pretty much it for my layout. So I hope you've enjoyed my week 2 process video. I finally really enjoyed doing my Project Life again, so I can't wait to get stuck into week 3, and I'll be back next week to share that with you. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.